Welcome to Brainwave Accent First lecture on social media. Today I am Henshaw Ita. And the platform treats the English sounds and the English accent. Indeed, how to acquire, learn the native like, what could be seen as or described as a native like English accent in the oral usage of the language. And so we have to speak on that first of all today before we get into some other topics in the English language. Now let's go to the board. So we have today the salient features in the English accent, the salient features in the English accent. Now, something salient, something key, something important, very, very important relating to the accents of English language. And we look at three different features that we have to consider. So we have to watch out for these three salient features when we are talking about an accent of a language, especially English language. Now, we talk about one, the sound inventories in the words, sound inventories in the words, in the skills, in articulation, okay, of the English words, and then the abstract segments like syllables and stress. I want to explain certain things here for our understanding. Now, look at this. Sound inventories in the words. Now, every word in English language is spelled in letters, and those letters have sound, representations. Okay, so every word has its sound inventories or sounds within the word. Words must have to be pronounced not based on letter pronunciation, but on sound pronunciation. So you have to talk about, first of all, how right have you pronounced the word? How correctly have you pronounced the word? Do you know the sounds in the words? Do you know the sound inventory in that word? That's the beginning point. That's the starting point. When you talk about an accent, what are the sounds within the word? And the next one is skills in articulation now. The English sound system or the English sound units require some skills, some artistry when you're pronouncing them, especially when you talk about the vowel sounds of English language. And then you have to note the shape of your mouth when you pronounce the sounds. You have to note the height of your tongue. You have to note what happens to the body of the tongue. And all of this put together make your production or your articulation to acquire, to attain the quality of that sound. There is nothing so difficult in it. You have to note all of this, which we'll have to address, in other lectures. Okay. Now the third has to do with the abstract segments like syllables, instruments. Now we're going to use about three words to demonstrate this, but it is so important that the abstract segments, which I'll have to explain later, something like syllables in stress, especially stress, okay, in the pronunciation or articulation of English words is so important. English language is a stress-timed language, and therefore stress is very important. It's very key in the pronunciation of English sounds or English words. When a word is bluntly stressed, it leaves behind a very wrong or distorted rhythm in that word, and then the sound, features in the word, the sound inventories would definitely be distorted. So we have about three words. Now let's go to the three words that we've said. we're going to use as examples. The first word there is insatiable. Insatiable. Now, locally produced or locally articulated form of this word is rather laughable, and we must not, you know, keep pronouncing it that way. Now, this is English language. Remember, in the introduction, we had said every language has its phonological rules. So we have to look at the English phonological rules and then go with it, follow it, use it, and achieve exactly the native accent that the English people use in producing or using the language. Okay, so we talk about the word insatiable. Now the next one is hyperbole. Hyperbole. And then the next, or the third, which is the last noun, is nine. Why do we use the word nine in INE? Nine, and you discover if your mouth, your lips are not shaped up, and your tongue don't take the usual or the normal position to befit that sound I. Now look at my mouth, I, and not I. Now you have to round up your lips. Your tongue is withdrawn on the inside, and then you have the word or the sound I produced. It you have nine, and such other words like delight, excited, and all of that. So you have to know the skills. You have to know the skills of shaping up your mouth, to befit a particular sound in the English language. Quite a number of things that we have to say. Now, look at the word insatiable. The stress pattern comes on the second syllable, a, or say, insatiable, insatiable. And the moment you stress that word on another syllable, you distort the same inventory, and that's the problem. So you destroy the accent of the language. The same thing is applicable to the word hyperbole. Hyperbole. Locally pronounced, you have a distorted form of the sounds, and that's not good. So we are going to address quite a number of those things. So the words are correctly pronounced as insatiable, insatiable, hyperbole, hyperbole, nine, nine. Please note the shape of my mouth, the stress pattern, and how these words are pronounced based on those syllables. Okay? Now, thank you very much. See you in the next lecture.